Elsa Bloodstone is finally back on my war team, and I'm super excited about it. I haven't been able to use her since War 1, and I've always been saying she is one of the best sturdy attackers this season because of the counter evade, making it really easy to place that taunt. And so we're just going to start off against this Titania here on node 8. I am going to actually forget that I should probably trigger her Haymaker as soon as possible, so now I'm going to start debate it out. But unfortunately, it triggers when she was running into me, but that's alright. It's just a little bit of a mess up at the start, but now we have the taunt back up and stuff like that. So I'm going to take a combo here because I'm bad, but we're going to go for an SP2 here, and that's just going to do a lot of damage. We go for an intercept there, taunt is refreshed. Now we're going to place 5 Incinerates. They're ticking for pretty nice damage. We get the evade, the taunt is back up because it countered her medium dash, and this Titania is basically dead, so really easy first fight. Would have been like almost full yellow barred if I didn't play dumb in that fight, but it's alright. Next up we have a Chavez on node 17, and this was a fight where we couldn't really fit a proper Chavez counter on my team, so we ended up using Chavez versus Chavez action, which in theory isn't that bad. You've got the buffs powering up Chavez from the node of personal space, I believe. We also have some control for power gain if she does activate some dimensions via my negative zone, but it is still a bit of a risky fight if she goes for that SP2 and it's unblockable. Probably should have indestructible boosted, but I was stupid and forgot to indestructible boost. But luckily this fight's going to go pretty well. One thing that is kind of interesting this fight is that you see me dashing in to her SP1 to keep me closer to her to get a safe counter, but there I didn't. There, it's just I'm trying to figure out when I should do it and when I shouldn't, because while I want to trigger some buffs for extra damage, I also don't want her to get too much or else my parries could start to fail if I decide to go for parries. So it was a little bit interesting trying to figure out when I should go for some close-up counters or when I should just stay away from her. But either way, we got the fight down. Okay, so this is another one where we just didn't really have a great counter for us, so I'm using Chavez anyway. This is Killmonger on node 26. I'm speeding this fight up because it's really long and it's just very boring. I messed up at the start there by eating that SP1, but I'm pretty sure that's like the only main mistake I make this fight. It's just a very tanky Killmonger that we don't really have a good counter for. Granted, Chavez does have the ability to reduce some of his power gain, but I mean that doesn't really help too much. The power gain isn't as big an issue as his tankiness and his reverberation, because we don't ever inflict debuffs outside of parry. And so we're just kind of baiting his special attacks, trying to activate his reverb when he's at low power, because the reverb is more potent the more power he has when he activates it. We're going for SP2 healing, but that doesn't really do much because of his crit resist and it's just his armor rating in general just being so high. We're not doing a lot of damage on the SP2 anyway. So it's just kind of a slow and steady finish to the fight. And yeah, we're gonna finish pretty healthy. We did get a crit there. Well, not pretty healthy, but we finished pretty cleanly, I should say. And now we have one more Chavez fight, and then I won't be using her again until a mini later in the war. So this is against Hulkling on node 35. I've taken this fight a lot. I've taken this fight and Gorr a lot on node 35. I definitely think Hulkling is the easier one, and this is going to go basically as textbook as it can. We're going to keep 2 negative zones up. That means he can basically never get to an SP3, because each time he does, he's just going to lose it because of my power gain. Well, I'm inverting his power gain, I should say. So we're just going to go for an SP2 here. I'm going to wait for the indestructible to fall off, and then, yeah, dude, she just absolutely annihilated him with that SP2. Got some really nice crit RNG, and it just hit super hard, so that was pretty great. Okay, so now, another Elsa fight. We have Photon on node 37. Now, okay, so we could have sent a Mantis with power back boost here to nuke her down, I should say. But my officer gave me the option to use Elsa here, and I was like, I'm gonna take it. I know this fight goes well. I know Elsa can take this Photon. She hits super hard. She's really safe with all the fun taunt shenanigans and the easy access to the taunt, I should say. We have a lot of healing to deal with, but once we get a bunch of our debuffs up, Despair is going to make that basically irrelevant. We have 6 of them active right now, and now once we have a bunch of debuffs, the healing is low. It is a little bit higher than 0 because of the recovery mastery, but at the same time, we're just hitting so hard. When we crit, we're just doing a bunch of burst damage. Everything is going pretty well. I am getting my indestructible boost punched away, but that's fine. We're going to go for another counter evade right after here, and it's going to place another taunt. Now the taunt is refreshed, and we're going to go for an SP2. It's going to do a really good bit of damage, and the precisions are going to help my critical hits right after. We get a precision every time we purify a non-damaging debuff, which happens like every 3 seconds, basically, as long as we have one on ourselves. And yeah, she destroyed the Photon. So, would a Mantis probably be better for that fight? Yeah, but I'm happy I got to take it, so I'm not complaining at all. Next up, we have Gorr on node 42, and we have Tigra for this fight. Really easy fight. Taken this fight like almost 20 times. Never died to it, I don't think, once. I have came close a couple times, but usually it's pretty easy. We're just going to counter his SP1s, play it safe, make sure that his shadow magic gets neutralized if we can help that. We can counter his heavy attack with a light attack whiff into the SP, into my heavy attack, I should say. And then he's almost dead here. We knocked the protection off, and then the ruptures are going to finish the job right here with my heavy attack. So there we go. That is node 42 Gorr down. And next up, I have node 47 Adam Warlock. And the funny thing was, my notes for this fight were just use the correct champion, and I think that's because I have Tigra'd this Adam before, but I have died to this Adam with Tigra before, so I was being reminded Chavez is going to be way better for this fight than Tigra would, so don't screw it up and decide to use Tigra like an idiot. My officer loves me. It's really fun. So we're gonna just keep our negative zones up, make sure the power gain is under control, and then as long as he's playing aggro, which he isn't at the moment, this is a pretty easy fight. We have that falter on ourselves, which is great. I have to wait that out. We also can't parry while he has that sovereignty active, I believe, so that's kind of frustrating. I was late on his heavy counter, which that really sucked, but now we're at SP3. It's unfortunate, but at least it gives me more dimensions to work with, so that's nice. Yeah, I think this is a rank 3 Adam Warlock, so he definitely hits hard, even with how tanky Chavez is. But yeah, so we're going to play it safe and not go for a heavy attack to get that falter off of me. We're just going to wait out the timer and make sure we... Oh my gosh, dude, it took another combo. I was actually kind of scared at this point because I'm taking a lot of unnecessary hits because I'm just playing bad, and he has more health than I do. So, and yeah, it's just kind of trying to play it safe while also get the fight over with as fast as possible is what I'm trying to do here. We're going to go for an SP2 with the healing. Hopefully we get some crits, but we get none, and now we've got a stasis pod coming. So that's not fun. Do one medium dash off so that he triggers his pod and I don't get stunned from it. We're going to go for another negative zone, and here I'm like, okay, I think I can finish him off with an SP2. I need to get there as fast as possible. We're going to go for another SP1, and the SP1 did it. We didn't even need an SP2. We got like a 39 crit at the SP1, so that was pretty great. Okay, 49 Onslaught with Tigra. I've done this fight 3 times. This might be the 3rd or the 4th, I'm not sure. I've soloed it every time. I have lost a good bit of health on some attempts, but I'm going into this one like, okay, just I need a good AI who's going to let me get some heavy counters, and then we'll be perfectly fine. So far, the AI isn't going well for me, but that's okay. It's not over yet. We're just trying to get our ruptures active. There I was actually late countering the heavy attack. I also noticed, hey, he's got that crush debuff, so I kind of need to not bait a heavy attack there. But now I'm like, well, if the plan was to nuke him as fast as possible, that plan is basically dead. I'm going to have to bait some special attacks. I'm going to have to dex them, which I don't get a lot of practice in, so I'm just kind of praying that I do it correctly. And I did the first time, so now we just need to replicate that. We're going to go for an SP1, start refreshing the senses. I need to make sure to not push him to SP2, because if I get that delirium on me and I mess up the dex, which I'm likely going to because I suck at inverted controls, I'm dead. So we have to dex these SP1s. I do so, luckily. I can't miss them if I have a Neuroshock on me, because the Neuroshocks do prevent miss. I took a combo there, but I'm like, okay, he's basically dead with another special attack, so I think I'm fine. And I'm fine. So we lost half our health, but we got the solo, so it's fine. I got the SP1 dexes, so again, that's fine. Okay, so this is a Silk boss. My first boss this season, my first boss of Crush 2.0. And I'm just cleaning it up. This wasn't original assignment. We sent a Killmonger here originally, and they just weren't having a good war, and they messed it up. But it's alright, because we were winning the war by a lot, so my officer was like, you want to prove to me that Elsa can take bosses? This is your chance. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And we're going to use Elsa for this Silk boss, and we're just going to use the exact tactics that make Elsa so good this tactic, to our advantage, and destroy the Silk boss. So we're going to make sure to use the evade to hit her medium dash, get the taunt back up. It fell off, but boom, we got it right back just by parrying her. So really safe intercepts and all that stuff. Just trying to bait special attacks, slow and steady. This is a chill fight. As long as I have that taunt up, I know I'm perfectly safe. I'm never going to have to worry about it. Go for another light intercept, actually, not even a tactic evade. And now we have some incinerates ticking, so we don't have to rely on just our burst damage. So we're going to actually dex out of her SP1. I knew I could do it. I hadn't actually practiced it before, but I knew I had the timing right, so it was perfectly fine. We're going to bait the SP1 here. We get the block, and then we dex out of it. Go for a light intercept there. Gonna throw an SP2 right when my Buster debuffs start coming back. And look at this, man. She's already almost dead, and we've only been here for a minute. Granted, 20% was already gone by the time I started the fight. But yeah, Elsa just absolutely clobbering the Silk boss. I didn't even max boost like I would if this wasn't a cleanup boss. She absolutely destroyed that fight, and I'm really happy with it. We did win the war. I don't currently have a screenshot of the results, but yeah, we did win it. So now we are 7-3, I believe. Currently in Plat 2 still, but that's not that big a deal. We're going to get to Plat 1 if we can continue a winning streak. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.